Welcome to a training video for Fortress Backup MySQL, a free tool to backup and restore databases for Paper Professional 4.0 and other Greynote software products. It's quick and it's easy. Use this Fortress to protect yourself from dangers such as power outages, power surges, hardware failure, viruses, ransomware, fire, flood, theft, sabotage, and more. These dangers can all cause data loss and disrupt your business operations significantly. Unfortunately, there have been cases where a few of our customers lost most or all of their data because they were not backing up at all. Others because they were not backing up regularly or not backing up correctly. Many also assume that backups are being done without checking to verify whether they are or not. In the event of a lost or damaged database, if you have no backup but have the raw data files, we should be able to recover most or all of your database records. But it's a long and detailed process which can take a day or more. And while we have been successful in the few cases we have had so far, we cannot guarantee that any of your records can be recovered. And finally, there is a data recovery fee of $1,500 Barbados dollars per database for successful recovery. You can help yourself and avoid the disruption and the extra cost by making regular backups, and our training videos show you how to do that. This video focuses on backing up your databases, so let's show you how it works. Here on the screen is the login screen for Fortress Backup MySQL. It is similar to the login screen of Paper Professional 4.0 and other Greynote software products, except that it does not connect to a database, nor does it build a new database. It only connects to a server. So let's sign in. And this is the backup screen. Let's start with a look at the layout of the screen, then show you how it works. At the top you have the folder. This is where the backups will be stored. At the right you have a count of the databases. Selected, excluded, and total, and these are the databases here. This list is this list of databases. Then you have the results. This shows you the progress of the backup as the databases are being backed up, how many are completed, how many are not completed, and the total. And then you have a total for the errors. If any errors occur, the total number of errors is shown here in the count. Underneath this, you have a list of the databases, where there's each database name. There's the option to select the database, and a column for the completed. Then you have the error log. At the bottom, you have the various buttons which control various functions of the screen. So let's begin at the top with the folder. The default folder when you first start the program is the same folder wherever the software is installed, which would usually be on your own computer. However, you may prefer to save the backups at a more secure or central or shared location. You may want to put them on a folder on your server. You may want to put them on a flash drive. You may want to have them on a cloud drive, somewhere where they're easily accessible. Also bear in mind that you may have a problem which affects the site where you're located. And let's say there was a fire, some sort of industrial fire, maybe chemicals or gas or something in the area, and that you cannot access the building, you can't access maybe buildings in the neighborhood, the whole entire area maybe. And if you have your backups stored somewhere on the premises, but you can't access the premises, then you are locked out until such time as the premises or as you're allowed access to the premises. So please bear that in mind. It can make the difference between you being able to restore your information on a server somewhere else and resume operations elsewhere, and not being able to do so. The totals of your databases is listed next at the top. In this case, there's a selected and excluded and a total. Now there are 47 databases in this list. If I tick, say, the PayPack one, because that's what I want to back up right now, you see this says selected 1 and excluded 46. So I can choose one database to back up. I can choose some databases to back up. I've got right now 7 databases there selected. Or I can choose all. There's a button at the bottom here. If I click that, that allows me to tick all of them. So all 47 are now selected. Now, if you look at the buttons here at the bottom, the backup button is enabled. If I click on none, which turns them all off, the backup button is disabled. It's disabled as long as this selected database is 0. So for the purposes of this demo, I am going to do 3 backups. I'm going to back up one database, which is the PayPack one, and then I'm going to back up a few, and then I'm going to back up all. So let's begin. I pick the database I want to back up, and I click the backup button, and you'll see that's it. That can be the difference between your files being lost or not. Just a few seconds, a very small investment in time. It's well worth it. So the files have been backed up. There's my results here. I've got errors now. If I back up, let's say we back up a few more. 1, 2, I'll just back up 5. Let's say I want the PayPack companies one. That's important for companies who use the multi-company version of PayPack. We've got 4. Let's go for one more. Let's pick this this one here. And again, I hit backup. And you can see the progress bar and the name of the file. And there you go, backup completed. So I just backed up 5 databases. Now I want to back up all. Click on all. And I back up. Now, before I click the backup, let me explain. Have a look at this column here for completed. Right now, it's tick the ones that we just did, the 5. But what you'll notice is that when I click on the backup and the progress bar goes across here, these entries for completed will also be ticked, and these totals will also be updated. So keep an eye out for it. We click on backup, it's backing up the Barber database. There you go, you see the ticks. Right, now where it pauses for a longer period of time, that indicates a larger database. These dist databases are larger than the others, and it goes through fairly quickly on the smaller databases. So far we've got 5 completed out of the 47. So there are 42 remaining, and it's still at the dist weekly database. Okay, good. So it's encounter some smaller ones now. It's processing. Moving along. At this rate, will soon be completed. I would say it's about halfway. Yes, it's completed. 29 of 8 of 47. progress bar is moving, you can see the name of the database currently being processed. This must be a large one, the Safari one. It's now moved on. We got 41 of 44, 3 remaining, no errors so far. If there are any errors, they will appear in the error log. Okay, we're finished now. All 47 databases completed. There were no errors, and that's your 3 backups done. Now, let's explain the buttons now before we take a look at the files that you created, the backups that were created. The backup button backs up the selected databases, and it stores the backups in the folder which you've selected here. The restore button will open the restore window, which can allow you to restore databases from a backup. That has its own video, so we'll not go into that screen right now. It has its own video which will explain how all of that works. The all and none are used to select the column here, to select the databases. There's also an invert. So let's say I start off with another marked. Let's say I tick some of these. How that could be used, I'll show you. Let's say we have some databases and want to put some of them in one folder and store others somewhere else. What I could do is come here. I've marked 17 of them. I've excluded 30, and if I were to back them up to this folder, I could then click on invert, which switches them around. It toggles them. So the 30 which were not selected before, or which were excluded before, are now selected. I've changed the folder, and I can now back up these files to that other folder if I so wanted to do. So invert switches things around. You've got a refresh button which will refresh the screen and give you, in case there are new databases built, or in case there's databases removed as well. There's an errors button which right now is disabled because there are no errors in the error log. If there had been errors, they will be listed in the error log grid here, and this button would be enabled to allow you to print the error log. There's a settings button, and that's important because first of all it allows you to save this folder. So if you change the default folder to the folder where you prefer to save your backups, whether it's on a server or on another drive somewhere, on a flash drive or cloud drive or whatever the case may be, after you've changed this option and selected which databases you want, well, that's optional too. The databases that you select, you could select all the databases if you want them to be backed up automatically, or selected each time you pre-selected each time you open the screen. So when you click the settings button, it saves the folder. It will save any databases which are in this list. Bear in mind that if new databases are created, so you created 10 new databases after you've saved the settings, those 10 databases will be displayed in here, but they're not going to be part of the selected databases. They will be excluded. So you have to check your list carefully. That's particularly important for customers who use the multi-company editions of PayPack Professional 4.0. which will have several databases. The settings button will also save the position for this divider, which by default comes up halfway down the screen. So if you wanted to move it more to the left, we want to push it further over to the right, the settings button, when you save the settings, next time you open this screen, this divider will be placed at the position where you indicated you want it to be kept. There's a reset button, and the reset button will clear the settings. It sets the folder back to the default folder where the program is installed. It removes any pre-selected databases so they are not automatically selected when the screen opens, and it resets the position of the divider. We also have a visual button which loads the visual styles screen, where you can set your colors. If you don't like this black cherry style, this black cherry color scheme, you can choose plenty of others, and I will not go into that screen because we have a video for that. When you click on the button, the screen opens, you make your changes, and if you are not familiar with how that screen works, it has its own video button, as does this screen, which is the video which you're currently watching now. And then there's the exit button to close the screen. So basically, we have created our 3 backups. What I'm going to show you now is the folders. Now, I've gone to the folder, Demo Files Backups, the same folder here. And if you look in the folder, these are the backups that were done in the past. Here we have the 3 which were done in this training session. And they're actually folders. So it's a folder, and these are subfolders underneath that folder. And within each folder are the backup files, which I'll open it shortly and show you. But let's look first of all at the naming of these folders, because the name tells you a lot. First of all, you have the year, the month, and the date. So these are the 3 on the 23rd of May 2021. There's also 2 others which were done on the 22nd of May 2021, and the oldest set here are from the 10th of May 2020. All right, so there, when you can see how far back they go, you can select a folder up to a particular point when it comes time to restore the data. You've also got backups for. It will say backups for, and it will say right now it's Sunday. It shows the day of the week. It has the date spelled out as opposed to this format here. This makes it more easy to read it. And finally, it will have the name of the server to which you are connected, from which the backup was done. Because remember, we logged in at the start of the process. We logged into Steve MB, and all of these are for Steve MB except for this one. This is one for a computer, for a server, Keyshawn PC. In that case, we connected to another server and backed up files from there, and that was done on the 22nd of May 2021 at 8:56 p.m. You've got your date and time, etc. So that's the folder name. Let's open one of them now. Let's start with the earliest one. This is the first one that we did, right? And that has the 1 file which we backed up. When we backed up the PayPack database, which is this one here, it backs it up and saves it as a zip file. So that's the 1 file that we did. Let's go back, open the second one. This now has 5 zip files in it, and these are the backups of the 5 files we had chosen when we said that we would back up some of the databases. Back again, and the third one which we did, obviously 47, because those are the 47. These 47 zip files represent the 47 databases which we backed up. So that's it for this video. You've seen how the folder works, how to set the folder. You can click on the three dots here if you want to change the folder to a different folder. There's the summary, the count of the databases, and the results while the backup is in progress. There's a list of errors. We had no errors so far. There's a list of the databases. There's the error log. This was the progress bar here. And these are your buttons which control the various functions of the backup screen. So, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure as always to present these videos to you. And please make sure to have a look at the video for the restore function within Fortress Backup MySQL. Thank you and goodbye.